Right, hello. Another lovely sunny day, albeit quite windy. I don't know if you can see that flag blown away there. A couple of houses down, but that's fair wind blowing, but with the sun out it's still quite pleasant. We're still looking about 10 degrees. We had a mild night last night. The last few nights been quite mild. Sort of 7-8 degrees overnight, which is pretty good for this time of year. But I think we're going to get down to 0 again tonight. A bit of a cold one, but again we're going to be bouncing back tomorrow, so shouldn't be too bad. I think the week ahead we're getting some fairly decent temperatures during the day, sort of 12, 14s, but we'll see. So it is what, the 6th of February. So your temperature is reading inside the centre bed cover 11.3 degrees, but obviously that is sheltered from the wind, so it's a little bit of a false reading. Yeah, so I thought I'd have a look at some things that, I don't know, a lot of people do protect and maybe necessarily don't need to, depending where you are in the country. So the Dicksonia Antarctica, like I say, we are beginning of February. We've had frosts. Some of the leaves have browned a little bit at the ends, but in general still looking really good. So I don't ever really protect this unless we're looking at a -4 or lower, and even then I'd literally just stuff some fleece right in the crown there, just for the nights where it does get down low, just protect any new fronds for the spring. So in general I think it's a lot better to leave it open through the winter. The water can get in there and drain through. I think if you leave it wrapped up, I mean you can wrap up the trunk if you want, but that's not the sensitive part, it's the growing point. And if you leave that wrapped up for months on end, I don't know, just get a bit yucky and could rot the new croziers. But like I say, it depends where you are in the country. I mean we do get fairly mild winter conditions here on the east coast. So, well, to be exact, I'm in Suffolk, right on the Suffolk-Norfolk border. So yeah, that's one plant that I didn't really bother protecting. Another one, common one, Tetrapanax. I've got a couple of, well, 3 of these dotted about, and sort of end of winter and we are just losing the last big leaf there. We've got a little leaf holding on, totally unprotected, don't need to protect that, it will drop its leaves. That is part of the course of winter. If you get really mild winter you might hold on to the leaves. Interestingly, I've got one of a similar size over here, which obviously the one we just looked at, it's got a little bit of shelter over it, but this one's totally out in the open, and it's pretty much the same situation. It's just holding on to the top few smaller leaves, so whether that will hold on for spring or whether that will just totally defoliate, we'll have to see. Alright, so another common one that you see a lot of people protecting, Musa Bajau. So basically this is what we're looking at right here. No protection whatsoever. First few years I grew these, I did wrap them, but just found it unnecessary. Again, depending where you are in the country, further north maybe, you know, you may want to wrap for the winter. It's a good insurance policy, but I'd say anywhere sort of, I don't know, obviously south of England and those milder parts on the coastal regions, you won't need to do anything with it. In general, a good idea is probably just to leave the dead leaves on there so you hang down and sort of just protect a little bit the growing area from frost. But I did cut this one right back, and over the winter that has been growing. Obviously that's got hit by frost and cut it back a bit, but we've still got the green there of the leaf, so it is still trying to grow even though it's winter basically. And still, we've had some, I'd say it's been an average winter sort of temperature, sort of lows, but we've had some sort of quite mild days, so that's definitely helped. And just another look at the Washingtonia robusta, because obviously some of the older leaves are starting to look a bit rough now. Get my shadow out of the way. So I think, looking at this, obviously the older leaves are going to be more vertical, or sorry, horizontal. So they're going to catch the frost a lot more than stuff in this vertical straight up. Obviously the frost is not going to collect on that leaf and stay on there as much as something where it's going to sit and lay on there for hours on end. So obviously, hence why the older leaves always take more damage. These are really sort of starting to burn off, they're sort of dry and crispy. But again, as you go up the fronds, they start to look a bit better. We have got a couple of new fronds pushing out, a little bit yellowy at the moment, as to be expected. That can't get full nutrients in the cold conditions, but I mean that is fully expected. Again, not the hardiest palm in the world, but seem to get away with it where I am. So with this, like I say, the first few years when they're small, I did wrap the trunks with fleece. That is a triple in there. But I just thought, unless we get a really cold patch, I won't really do anything with it. So yeah, come next month or two, when it starts to warm up and we lose them frosts, we'll what I do tend to do is, if there is any green sort of towards the centre of the leaf, I'll just cut it off, cut all the dead off around, just leave that little bit of green until we get a couple of decent new leaves out. Then I'll cut it right off. Any bit of green is going to help feed the plant. But yeah, in general, like what I'd expect this time of year, end of winter, February always comes with a bit of a warning. It normally has a sting in the tail somewhere. We normally get really strong winds, a few storms, and some nasty frosts. Not out of the question. So for me, it's always that. It's a nice month in a way, you're thinking, oh, spring's just round the corner, but in another way you're thinking, well, things in the ground are starting to stir, and you get them heavy frosts, and that's setting everything back. But you never know. Anyway, I think we'll leave it at that. Thatch is not looking too bad. Got a couple of brown spots here and there that you can see next to the shadows. A couple of small brown spots here and there, but in general, there you go, look. Pretty good. This one is not perfectly situated. It gets all sun all day from mid-morning to the evening, but it's cope with it, albeit I don't think the leaves are as big as they would be if they were in shade. But yeah, so let's leave it at that, and thanks for watching.